The Ravens' season came down to this play. 3rd and 3, 43 seconds left on the Baltimore Ravens' own 30-yard line. Down by 7 points. If they didn't score a touchdown, they're losing the game. Joe Flacco snapped the ball, steps back, looking downfield, and the rest was history. The Baltimore Ravens had previously come off a heartbreaking loss to the New England Patriots in the 2011 AFC Championship game. Their kicker misses the field goal to tie the game and send it into overtime. As the season goes on, they're starting out really well. In fact, they're 9-2, but then the last 5 games, they lose 4 of their next 5, going 10-6. And although the year had ended poorly, they were still in a playoff spot and looking for a chance to win the Super Bowl. Now, let's talk about the other part of the story, Jacoby Jones. Jacoby Jones was somebody who grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, and although he was small, standing at 5'7", he was fast enough to get a scholarship from Southeast Louisiana University, but it was strictly to play track. A lot of coaches, including his high school coach and Southeast Louisiana University's head coach, all said, no, you're not playing football, you're too small. But that's all Jacoby Jones really wanted to do. He loved football. And when he got a growth spurt from 5'7" to 6'2" and 195 pounds, he finally got the body to play football. And when his cousin hit him up to transfer to his college at Lane College, where he has a chance to play football, he did it. And boom, it made an immediate impact starting from day one. He became a 4-time All-Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference player, or SIAC, with the Lane College Dragons. He led the SIAC in multiple categories, like receiving yards per game, receptions per game, receiving touchdowns, all-purpose yards, and punt return average. This, along with his athletic ability, got him an NFL Combine invite. He performed decently well, ranking at 17th amongst all wide receivers in the draft class, and the Texans decided to take a chance on him in the 3rd round. He didn't really get a chance to showcase his talents until his 2nd year in the NFL, where he returned kicks and punts for the Texans. And then it wasn't until the 3rd year where he actually made an impact on the offensive side, posting around 500 yards with 6 touchdowns. He put this up for a few years until we got to 2011, the divisional round against the Baltimore Ravens. He had an off day, to put it nicely, and where he muffed 2 punts, one of them leading to a Baltimore Ravens touchdown, and with the score being 20-13 at the final seconds ticked down, a lot of people blamed him for the loss. The Texans moved on from Jacoby Jones, and luckily enough, the team that he lost to picked him up. Baltimore Ravens picked him up on a 2-year deal. He instantly went on to have the best season in his entire career. He went All-Pro, First Team, and Pro Bowler as a kick returner. Easily had the best years with the most yards returned on kick returns, and of course, highlight plays, returning some kicks for some touchdowns. And although he didn't make much of an impact in the game against the Colts in the playoffs, his time would come where he needed to step up to save the Baltimore Ravens season. The Ravens and Broncos went back and forth all game, and there was only 43 seconds left in the 4th quarter. The Ravens were on their own 30-yard line, 70 yards away from the end zone. The Ravens would need a miracle. Joe Flacco dropped back and eventually found his man downfield and heaved it. If this was an incomplete pass, it'd be 4th and 3, and the Ravens would be looking at potentially the end of their season. But Jacoby Jones was there on the deep right sideline, caught the ball to save the Ravens season. This wasn't a superstar player, but when the Ravens needed him the most, he made superstar plays. Yes, he wasn't an all-pro wide receiver, but he was one of the best kick returners the NFL had ever seen, especially talking about a single season performance by a special teams player. The Ravens would go on to win that game in the 2nd overtime with a game-winning field goal from, of course, Justin Tucker. The Ravens would beat the Patriots 28-13 and then go on to the Super Bowl, where Jacoby Jones yet again made superstar plays with a big touchdown grab to end the first half, and then of course the longest kick return ever in Super Bowl history with a 108-yard touchdown kick return. Although his time with the Ravens wouldn't last forever, and in fact he left the league entirely a few years after that in 2015, he cemented himself as a legend amongst Baltimore Ravens fans for that 2012 year, and even 2013 year where he played great also. And while his time with the Ravens wasn't that long, he embodied everything that the Ravens want a player to be. Embodied what it means to play like a Raven. That was Jacoby Jones. The Ravens would go on to win the Super Bowl against the 49ers, and Jacoby Jones was a big part of that. But he also made a lot of impact off of the field. He always talked to Ravens players like Ray Rice during their low times, and then talked to the new guys like Lamar Jackson. He really made an impact for this organization and its players, past and the present. When I heard that Jacoby Jones had passed away on July 14th, on Sunday, I knew I had to do something. I mean, he was part of the reason why I got into football. I mean, he is the reason why I would say I got into football. He was my first favorite player ever. You know, I became a Ravens fan because of him. Without him, I would either be a Cowboys fan just like my dad, or wouldn't be a fan of the NFL, like at all. Or it was a good possibility I wouldn't be a huge fan of football. I mean, I was a little kid when I first watched the Mile High Miracle play. I was standing behind my father while he was sitting on the couch. I went to get something from the kitchen, and I just saw the 43 seconds left. I walked over, stood behind my couch, and watched it happen. I was an 8-year-old kid. And then, of course, I saw us win the Super Bowl, and that was crazy. And Jacoby Jones instantly became my favorite player for obvious reasons. The Super Bowl and the Mile High Miracle. It really sucks to have to see the news that Jacoby Jones passed away. He wasn't an amazingly, he wasn't a Hall of Fame level player or nothing like that. He was a, good depth piece at wide receiver and great kick returner, but nothing more. But he was what I loved about football. Great stories, guys, who didn't really have much and was kind of doubted a lot and messed up, but then boom, came around and, had a comeback. Really proved a lot of people wrong and, did it with a smile. Leveled up the energy with his teammates. The more I researched, the more I fell in love with Jacoby Jones, and the more sad I got that he had passed away at just 40 years old. So, this video was, of course, going to be made. The greatest play ever in Ravens history was always going to be made. But I decided to make it a little bit earlier for Jacoby Jones. I hope you guys liked the video a lot. Let me know what your favorite Jacoby Jones moment was. It probably is going to be the Mile High Miracle for a lot of people, like it was for me. But let me know what your favorite moment from him was, and give this video a like. Subscribe for more NFL and NBA content. You're going to see a lot more stories like this and a lot more video essays about certain moments and certain teams. So hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'll see you guys next week.